When I was young, I failed many times. School, job interviews, even my own business ideas. People laughed. They said I was not smart enough. But I realized something very important. Your biggest enemy is not outside. It's inside. It's your own mind. If you cannot control your mind, you will follow fear, you will follow doubt, you will quit too early. But if you learn to train your mind, discipline it, shape it, you can do things people think are impossible. I am not a tech expert. I was an English teacher, but I believed, I focused, and I didn't let my mind control me. I learned to control it. Today, too many people are smart, talented, but still stuck. Why? Not because of the world, but because they never learned to manage their own thoughts. This speech is not just about motivation. It's about discipline. It's about mastering your inner world so the outer world cannot defeat you. Let me tell you how to train your mind like an entrepreneur, like a fighter, like a dreamer who never gives up. Every challenge you face in life, whether in business, relationships, or your personal goals, begins and ends with the battles inside your own mind. Before you even take your first step toward a dream, there is a voice in your head asking, "What if I fail?" That voice is louder than any critic, more dangerous than any competitor. It questions your worth, your abilities, your vision. That's why controlling your mind is not optional. It's the first and most important victory you must win. Many people prepare for external competition. They study markets, they watch trends, they try to outperform others. But they forget that the greatest resistance comes from within. It's your self-doubt that makes you hesitate. It's your fear that keeps you from taking risks. It's your laziness that tells you to rest when you should rise. If you don't win that war inside, you will lose, even when no one is fighting you outside. When I started Alibaba, nobody believed in me, not even my own friends. But the worst part wasn't their doubt, it was mine. I would wake up at night thinking maybe they were right. Maybe I was too ambitious, too crazy, too ordinary. But I realized something powerful. If I let that voice control me, I would never do anything great. So I began to talk back to that voice. I started saying, yes, maybe I am not the smartest, but I am the most determined. And every time I heard fear, I would respond with action. I kept moving even if I was uncertain, because the moment you stop listening to that negative voice, your real journey begins. Controlling your mind doesn't mean pretending everything is okay. It means being aware of your thoughts and choosing which ones to believe. Your brain is like a garden. If you do not plant flowers, weeds will grow automatically. The weeds are fear, laziness, comparison, excuses. They grow on their own. But if you want confidence, focus, and resilience, you must plant them daily. That requires effort. That requires intention. You must wake up and remind yourself what you are capable of. You must train your thinking to serve your goals, not sabotage them. And when failure happens, and it will, you must decide how to interpret it. You can either let it break your spirit or use it to sharpen your focus. That choice is always yours. One of the biggest problems today is people are overwhelmed by too much information. Social media, news, opinions. Everyone is speaking, but very few are thinking. Your mind becomes a noisy room, filled with distractions. You must learn to quiet the noise. You must learn to protect your mind like it is your most valuable resource, because it is. If someone gives you bad food, you won't eat it. But if someone gives you negative ideas, you consume it without question. That must change. You must choose your mental diet as carefully as your physical one. Read things that inspire you. Listen to voices that challenge you to grow. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your purpose, not your pain. In the early days of Alibaba, every day was a mental war. We had no money, no support, no technology, just a vision. And that vision had to be protected, not from the outside, but from within. Because every day my own mind would try to sabotage me. Give up, it said. You tried enough. And I would say back, not yet. That conversation happened daily. Controlling your mind is not a one-time decision. It is a daily discipline. Just like brushing your teeth or exercising, it must become a habit. The more you practice, the stronger you become. Eventually, you begin to think differently. Challenges don't scare you. Failures don't break you. And success doesn't distract you. You become stable, focused, unstoppable. So many people are waiting for the right time, the right resources, the right feeling. But control of your mind means you act not when you feel ready, but when you decide to move forward. Feelings come and go. Discipline stays. The greatest leaders, entrepreneurs, and achievers are not the ones with the most talent. They are the ones who master their internal world. They still have fear, but fear doesn't make decisions. They still have doubts, but doubts don't control the direction. They use their mind as a servant, not a master. And that's the secret to winning before the world even sees your success. When you win inside, the outside eventually follows. When your mind is aligned with your vision, there is no force that can stop you from rising again and again, no matter how many times life knocks you down. The mind is not a fixed tool. It's a living, adaptable force that responds to how you use it. Just like muscles in the body, the mind grows stronger with intentional repetition and pressure, but most people treat the mind like a fragile object. They avoid discomfort. They fear pressure. And they think motivation alone is enough. But if you only act when you're motivated, your mind will remain weak. Real mental strength comes from training your thoughts daily, just like an athlete trains their body. You don't go to the gym once and expect results. You don't lift weights for a week and expect to be strong. The same applies to your mental discipline. It must become a lifestyle, a system, a routine. Training your thoughts means choosing what to think, even when your emotions are pulling you in a different direction. It means practicing focus when the world is distracting, choosing patience when you feel frustration, and embracing discipline when your body screams for comfort. The great minds in the world weren't born different, they became different by building habits of thought. They refused to let their minds drift aimlessly. Instead, they gave their thinking a structure. They filtered negativity. They questioned fear. They directed their attention like a laser, over and over again. And through that repetition, their mind became powerful. When I was building my company, there were days of intense pressure. No money, no support, no guarantee. The only thing I could count on was my thinking, so I began to train it. I would wake up and declare my direction. I would not let my mind wander. I reminded myself daily what I believed, why I started, and where I was going. And slowly it became automatic. Just like lifting weights makes your arms strong, controlling your thoughts every day builds resilience in your mind. One decision at a time, one moment at a time. That is how champions are made, not in one breakthrough, but in thousands of small choices repeated with discipline. Your mind does not get stronger by avoiding difficulty. It grows through resistance. Every time you choose to stay calm under pressure, you're training your mind. Every time you take action in fear, you're training your mind. Every time you stay focused while others are distracted, you're training your mind. This training must happen on purpose. You don't become mentally tough by accident. You become tough because you choose to face hard things instead of running away from them. You choose to show up when it's uncomfortable. You choose to speak belief when you feel doubt. And the more you practice, the more automatic it becomes. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is this: mental control comes from mental habits. If your first thought in the morning is fear, then train your mind to replace it with gratitude. If your instinct is to blame others, train your mind to take responsibility. If you feel overwhelmed, train your mind to break the problem into smaller steps. This is not inspiration, it's repetition. It's programming your mind with purpose again and again. That's why successful people seem so stable. It's not that life is easier for them, it's that their inner system is stronger. They have trained themselves to respond with strength when others panic. That is the result of years of thinking on purpose. Another key to training your mind is to understand that failure is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to train harder. When you mess up, when you feel weak, when you lose control of your emotions, Don't feel defeated. Use it as a workout. Reflect on what triggered you. Ask yourself what thoughts you allowed to grow. Then go back and train. Replace those thoughts. Practice new ones. Repetition is the mother of mastery. And for our last segment, the mind you build in private will shape the results you create in public. So don't be afraid of setbacks. Don't run from mental fatigue. Use it all as part of your training. Every single day gives you an opportunity to get mentally stronger. Every challenge is a chance to build discipline. Every distraction is a test. And the more you train, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you don't have to force it. Just like a trained athlete doesn't have to think before running, your trained mind will begin to respond with strength automatically. You'll face pressure and remain calm. You'll feel fear and keep moving. You'll meet failure and rise again with clarity. Not because it's easy, but because your thoughts have been trained like muscles, sharpened, tested, and conditioned for greatness through repetition and discipline. In life, most people don't fall because of the situation, they fall because of their reaction to it. The moment something goes wrong, they panic, they lash out, they complain. But if you want to truly control your mind, you must stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. There's a big difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is automatic, emotional, impulsive. A response is calm, thoughtful, deliberate. Learning to control your reactions is one of the highest levels of mental mastery. It doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you don't let them run your life. You acknowledge them, you feel them, but then you choose your response with intention. That's how leaders are built. That's how greatness is shaped. Not by emotions, but by clarity. When you react, you are handing over your power to the situation or the person in front of you. They push a button and you explode. They say something wrong and you break down. That means they are in control, not you. But when you respond instead of reacting, you take the power back. You decide how to feel. You decide how to act. And that changes everything. The mind becomes strong when you stop being a slave to emotion. When you feel anger and don't let it lead. When you feel fear and still move forward. When you feel sadness and still choose hope. That is strength. That is control. I remember facing intense criticism when I first started Alibaba. People said I was crazy, unqualified, wasting my time. There were moments when I wanted to shout back, to defend myself, to react emotionally. But I knew that would not help me. I learned to listen, observe, and respond with strategy. Not with ego, not with anger. I trained myself to pause before speaking, to breathe before acting. That small pause, just a few seconds, can save relationships, protect your energy, and keep your vision clear. Those who react instantly often regret deeply, but those who respond thoughtfully gain respect and make progress. This level of mental control requires daily practice. You must become aware of your emotional triggers. What situations make you lose control? What words instantly provoke you? What environments drain your energy? Once you identify them, you can begin to prepare your responses in advance. You can create a gap between emotion and action. That gap is where your power lives. When something happens, feel the emotion, but don't act on it immediately. Let it pass through you. Observe it, and then decide the best way forward. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. The world is full of people reacting to everything. News, opinions, criticism, problems. But very few are responding with wisdom. That's why chaos spreads so quickly. That's why negativity dominates so many lives. But when you control your mind, you become a stabilizing force. While others are angry, you remain focused. While others are panicking, you remain calm. While others are blaming, you are solving. This makes you valuable. This makes you a leader. People will notice your stability in storms. They will trust your voice when others are yelling. They will follow your direction when others are lost in emotion. Another key to responding instead of reacting is to stop taking everything personally. Most people react emotionally because they feel attacked. They think every word, every situation, every problem is about them. But in reality, most people are projecting their own pain, fear, or ignorance. When you stop taking things personally, you gain emotional freedom. You don't get offended easily. You don't waste energy on nonsense. You stay focused on your purpose. This doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you protect your peace so you can stay clear and effective. Developing this mindset takes time. You will mess up. You will react sometimes. But every time you catch yourself, you grow stronger. Every time you choose to pause, to reflect, to respond, you're building a mind that cannot be shaken by emotion. That kind of control gives you an edge in every area of life. In business, it helps you make better decisions. In relationships, it helps you avoid unnecessary conflict. In your personal growth, it helps you stay on track even when you feel discouraged. Reactions are natural, but they are not required. You always have the power to choose your response. And the more you practice this, the more peace you experience. Your mind becomes a place of clarity, not confusion. Your thoughts become tools, not weapons. Your emotions become messengers, not masters. You are no longer pulled in every direction by what happens around you. You begin to lead yourself first. That's the foundation of all great leadership. Self-mastery is not about being perfect. It's about being aware, intentional, and committed to growth. Every moment gives you a chance to choose power over panic, calm over chaos, wisdom over impulse. That choice defines the quality of your life, your relationships, your success. The greatest threat to mental control today is not failure, fear, or even other people. It's distraction. In a world filled with noise, alerts, opinions, and endless scrolling, the mind is constantly pulled in 100 directions. And when your attention is scattered, your energy is weakened. You can't focus on building your future if your mind is always reacting to the present chaos. That's why controlling your mind starts with learning to focus, not just on anything, but on the mission, on the purpose, on the reason you began in the first place. Focus brings clarity, and clarity brings strength. When you know what matters, you stop chasing everything that doesn't. Many people are busy, but very few are effective. They move fast, but get nowhere. They try to do everything and end up doing nothing well. Why? Because they allow every small thing to steal their attention. One negative comment ruins their whole day. One unexpected problem ruins their whole week. But the people who rise to the top are the ones who learn to tune out the noise. They are not easily shaken by distractions. They don't allow temporary setbacks to pull them away from long-term goals. They protect their focus like a treasure because they know that what they focus on grows. If you focus on problems, your problems will grow. But if you focus on solutions, your strength will grow. When I started Alibaba, there were countless distractions: competitors, critics, failures, uncertainty. Every day brought a new problem, a new opinion, a new reason to doubt. But I made a decision early on. I would focus only on what moved us forward. I would listen, but I would not get lost. I would adjust, but I would not abandon the mission. That mental discipline to stay locked on the purpose, no matter what was happening around me, was more valuable than any skill. It kept me from giving up when everything said I should. It kept my team focused when the world told us we would fail. That's the power of clarity. Most people don't lack potential. They lack direction. They have energy, but it's not focused. They have ambition, but it's scattered. And that's why they burn out. That's why they feel lost. The answer is not to do more, it's to focus more. To train your mind to say no to what doesn't align with your purpose, to simplify your life so that your energy is invested only in what truly matters. And this takes courage because distractions often come disguised as opportunities. People will try to pull you into their chaos. Situations will tempt you to abandon your principles. But when your mission is clear, you become immune to these traps. You don't chase noise, you chase meaning. A focused mind is also a peaceful mind. When you know your direction, you don't waste time comparing yourself to others. You don't panic when things go wrong. You trust the process because you know why you're on the path. And in that clarity, you gain momentum. Each step becomes intentional. Each decision becomes aligned. And slowly, your life begins to reflect your vision. But it all starts in the mind. You must learn to filter. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every trend deserves your energy. Not every problem deserves your panic. Train your mind to ask, does this serve my mission? If the answer is no, let it go. The hardest part of focus is not getting started, it's staying focused. Distractions are persistent. They come back again and again. That's why you must build systems to protect your mind. Create routines that reinforce your goals. Build environments that eliminate distractions. Surround yourself with people who sharpen your purpose, not blur it. Make reflection a habit so you always return to your why. Focus is not a moment, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it must be trained daily. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger your focus, the less control the outside world has over your life. In today's world, information is everywhere, but wisdom is rare. Attention is short, but depth is powerful. You don't need to know everything. You need to know what matters most to you. And once you find that, you must protect it fiercely. Every distraction you ignore, every temptation you overcome, every moment of clarity you protect builds the mind of a leader. A focused mind sees opportunity where others see confusion. A focused mind moves with purpose while others wander. A focused mind creates results while others make excuses. So train yourself to focus on the mission. Write it down. Repeat it daily. Visualize it clearly. Let it shape your actions, your schedule, your conversations. When you live with that kind of clarity, distractions lose their power. Setbacks lose their sting. And the noise of the world fades in comparison to the sound of your purpose.